guys, this is Sydney. So I was actually having my smoothie right now, and then I actually also had this urge to share something, a message, a guidance the past few days, but I felt like it wasn't the time. And then I was sitting and I found myself putting on the camera in the camera holder and pressing the record button. So I think it was my higher self calling me to share something for those of you who may resonate at this time. Energetically, there's a lot going on right now, meaning a lot of portal energies being opened, a lot of rising in frequency that's being opened, a lot of changes within individuals as there's a huge cycle of karma being closed at this time. And we have the lunar eclipse and solar eclipse upcoming. So what I saw was there's gonna be a huge portal, but what I saw was the eclipse portal with the rainbow portal all together. So in a way, it's related to the idea of ascension, right? The journey, that journey that we are on at this time. And in regards to that, energetically, the past week or so has been very intense energetically. The energy has been rising up, rising up, rising up. I think since the eclipse portal has opened around new moon in Virgo times, and then it's been rising, 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 rising. In order for individuals in the collective to really jump the bridge or burn the bridge is what is coming right now. So you can fully close the cycle, and there may have been a lot of it's either you can perceive it as something coming at you from the outside, but actually it's within your psyche, within your that's how it really works. I mean, there are other entities around, but usually these what you may be experiencing internally in a form of thought, in a form of something occurring in the physical reality, is actually all based on one's own inner energy. And sometimes there may be your spirit team or guides helping you to recognize certain things within, so that you can break free or release or close that cycle so that you can move on, basically. But it's all going within your psyche. So something that I'm guided to share is that right now, the energy from today, which is the September 1st, where I am right now, what I'm feeling and sensing is more like the integration right now. The rising of the energy has been very intense, and then all these like weird psyche or that inner conflicts that you perhaps may be holding on to deep down in your subconscious that you weren't even aware of due to a lot of suppressed emotions may have been coming up to the surface, as if it's bringing old scenarios back or bringing old people back. However it is, it was that energy pulling these things in so that you can see for what they are, and then discern, and then sweep it off of your feet or clean it out from your house. like in an analogy talking sense, so that you're starting with clean slate. You've cleaned home, right? And so you're now ready to welcome in new guests, new people, new things, new experiences into your life, basically. So that's been the energy. And since the new moon in Virgo, the energy has been very intense and a lot of the times very challenging. So a lot of the individuals may have been experiencing all of a sudden this weird sort of funk that you just like don't want to sit with, but you just want to run away from, distract yourself with, or something happening that like things not going the way you planned or way you wanted or way you thought you wanted, or all of a sudden certain changes coming in, kicking in, whether in a form of like a painful ending, whether it's like a divorce, or it's like you get fired from your job, or you end a relationship with someone, whether it's a family member, or whether it's like boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, or whether it's like friendship or work relationship, any close relationship. So all of these things are taking place because basically they are the things that do not hold your place. They do not deserve your energy and attention anymore, because they hold the energy that's holding you back. You see what I mean? So basically the universe or your spirit team, they're removing these people, these situations, but it could look very chaotic, and it may feel like you're being taken away from people that you used to love, that you used to feel very loyal to, that you thought that they would be with you forever in this lifetime, or this dream job or this dream situation, and all of a sudden it's ruined or something like that, or what you've been wishing for, it's not coming through. So on the outside it may look very chaotic, and it could create or bring in a lot of drama with it. And that's why I think in the latest video I mentioned something about the storm coming. So that's the storm that I was talking about, the like incoming storm that I was sensing. So with that, I kept mentioning about being the eye of the storm and centering yourself, staying focused, staying discerned. That's one of the reasons why that your ability to discern, ability to close your eyes in the midst of the storm, not try to fight the storm, get entangled with the drama around you, but staying still, staying silent, meaning you are letting the storm pass you. You see what I mean? And your energy is focused inward. And so that's where all these messages about staying inward, stillness, all this were kept coming. So that's been the energy the past week or two. Big storm, like a tornado. And when tornado comes, as an analogy, anything that's not meant will be picked up and then will be thrown out. And then after the storm, after the tornado, what's left is what is meant for you. You see what I mean? But then your role in this tornado, inside this tornado, is not to fight this bigger force, fight the universe. You see what I mean? So that's where we need to go into the consciousness or the third eye or intuition to discern and have a bigger picture understanding. This is helping me right now. This is preparing me right now. So even though it's a bit painful, even though it's I'm feeling this fear or this arising doubt or arising insecurities, arising these emotions that I thought I dealt with, it's resurfacing. I don't want to look at it again. I don't want to sit with it again. But you're sitting with it. You see, that's the stillness that was required for you, or maybe still requiring for someone out there, if you resonate, right? And then even though it's making you feel really, really uncomfortable, like you just want to run away, you don't want to look at it anymore, but it's asking you to be very courageous and muster up your strength within. That is the love within you that is bigger than all of the storms, all of this chaos, drama, and all these fears, or these elements that's spun out of the root of the fear. You are the one sitting on top of everything, and that's the consciousness, and that's something that you need to wake up to, or you need to suddenly realize, right? And bring in the new music that I kept sharing, that I kept receiving since the beginning of this year, the new music. Meaning they were preparing us for the storm at this time, and especially with this lunar and solar eclipse energy is a huge huge shift and change that's going to take place in individuals' lives energetically, and in the collective. So something that you can do on a practical level is that even whenever you feel like you want to run away, whenever you feel like you're turning bitter and saying that I don't want to look at it, or you have that like passing by emotions that I don't want to deal with it anymore, like it's I don't want to look at it, because you know that it's going to make you angry, you know that it's going to make you feel so afraid, you know that it's going to make you feel so anxious. You just sit. And to be able to sit, you need to first align yourself. So the best thing is to utilize your breath, because you are the creator of your own inner reality. That's the outer, basically. So you breathe in, breathe out, relaxing. Breathe in, breathe out. Calm your nervous system, because the nervous system, the cells, they hold memories, and they have these reactions and habits and all these things that are popping up automatically to protect you. That is in survival. So they get charged up. They're in fight or flight mode, or in defensive mode, or to run away, right? Immediately when that kicks in. But it's you. That is the higher consciousness. You. That is the higher perspective. You coming in, your soul, saying, calm down. You're calming down the ego. You're embracing the ego now. It's like a little child that's untamed, or like full of wounds, like a little stray dog, stray cat, right? That they've been wounded, and when someone is trying to give love, they go, ugh, right? They like in defense, because they're trying to protect themselves. So they have to learn. And your higher self, or your soul, your consciousness, needs to not force your ego to match your energy. Receive love, receive love. You're not ordering or forcing them or manipulating or trying to tame them, but simply just be with them so that they can learn how to trust again, in a very safe environment, that is a very new environment, meaning that is not familiar with them. So they need some time to adjust to this environment, and they have to it's like it takes time to get used to this new environment or get out of the comfort zone, meaning always being in survival mode or trying to right, aggressive, and ready to bite if someone is trying to pet them. Even though it's coming from an intention of love, they're so used to the intention of harm that they have to relearn. You see what I mean, as an analogy? So it goes same for humans as well, as an individual. When you're full of wounds, unhealed wounds inside, when someone is trying to love you, you cannot receive that love. We call that self-sabotage, right? So you're like, you don't see it for what it is. You're constantly projecting based on your wounds. You have this certain image that you learned. So the process is relearning love, relearning trust, which is a huge thing for the collective, because we've been in the experimentation of the dark age, which was the hierarchical, which was the centralized. So I made all this like little, short videos in a very funny, goofy way that I enjoy, right? Representing these energies based on the energies that I've been tapping into. So that's the wound. And it's about the inner energy, what's in your subconscious. So that means this little wounded dog or cat or yourself or oneself has been learning that it's unworthy of love, because it's been constantly being rejected, abandoned, hurt, right? Manipulated, meaning betrayed. So you cannot trust, and it's on a fighting mode, right? I'm gonna bite you if you come near me. So now, with this shift in energy in the collective and on Gaia, with the rising of frequency, there may be intention of love coming, and you need to learn to receive this love. You see what I mean? So someone may say, I know I can receive love, I don't have any problems. I'm not talking about that, but it's way deep, going deep. So usually people who say, I don't have anything, any problems, and I've all cleared that up, is usually the one that needs to humble oneself to, that's what is coming from like Source and Gaia right now, because it's always a learning process. So when you say, what am I here to learn? What am I here to grow? That's the attitude, right? So when someone has that, you're going to be able to see these opportunities, or see the storm or tornado as an opportunity for you to center yourself, for you to expand your light from that point onwards, by you learning to create your new music that is asking, what am I here to learn right now? I'm going to sit still with this discomfort. You see what I mean? When you speak to yourself that way, that's the new music, rather than saying, no, I know that already, or I have no problem with that, or I don't want to deal with it, or it's frustrating me, it's pissing me off, or it's annoying me, or I'm just gonna go grab a coffee with my friends, or I'm just gonna go out and have a beer with my buddies, right? That's distraction, because you feel funky inside. You feel like something is making you feel uncomfortable. You have to sit still, meaning you have to be alone with yourself, meaning you have to give full attention to yourself without any of the distractions asking your attention. You see what I mean? That's the isolation, the meaning of isolation, the meaning of being with yourself. It's requiring that immense amount of full dedication and commitment to give full attention to yourself. You see, that's what we want from someone else in an analogy, right? You want undivided attention. And when that comes to you, you feel loved and you feel heard, you feel acknowledged, and all these ideas, right? In like a relationship sense, as an analogy. So that's what you're providing. And we call that prioritizing yourself or choosing yourself. So that is what's being required for you to do, or is going to require you to continue to do through this eclipse portal, especially in the September, entire month of the Virgo season, as we are experiencing huge, enormous, very rare trine energy with Uranus, like Pluto, Neptune, and also the Saturn just went into, I think is going into retrograde today, or I can't remember the exact date. And a lot of the oldest planets are going to go into retrogrades. And especially we had the new moon, the Virgo, with 0 degrees, which means a huge new beginning, which also means huge old endings. So that's the energy that we are experiencing right now, and it could be unique for individuals, right? So once again, as a reminder, it's not to compare one's journey to another one, because you never know what that soul went through in other lifetimes or other universes, or what their soul blueprint is. So it's basically none of our business, right? So just focus on your energy and your blueprint, and you're creating this new blueprint for yourself, for this new chapter or this new beginning or this new era, new life, however you want to call it or resonate with these terms, you are the one creating, composing, listening to all this new music. So you may speak very brightly, you may speak very positively, or you may speak very kindly to other people or outside in public, but what really matters is the conversations, the dialogue that you have with yourself, within your psyche, silently. You see what I mean? In private. So that's the real energy that matters. So you may speak kindly to others, but inside, if the intention is not in match to that, then you're accruing karma, meaning karma simply means in Sanskrit action. So you're choosing that energy of action that is misaligned, that your intention is not so kind while you appear to be kind, as an example. So how you appear to be doesn't really matter, but a lot of people have been playing this game in the age of darkness experimentation because of the role or the environment at the time that you buy into external validation, external recognition. And that was very stressed and emphasized in the world of the centralized world. Your reputation, how you appear to be, how other people perceive you. So we deceive other people, we deceive ourselves. Whenever you deceive other people, you're deceiving yourself. Whenever you are manipulating other people, you're manipulating within, in the same energy. And that's we call karma, action. So what you put out, you receive. So if you put kindness out there, you receive the kindness. And that means your energy was genuine, intended, pure-hearted. But if it was not, even though it may appear in due time, in certain cycles, it will show up. So that's been what's been happening the past like a year or so. There was like small cycles of karmic cycles. So you will notice all of these people on TV suddenly they're being disclosed. They had this huge popularity or this like very good reputation in public, and all of a sudden it was discovered that behind there was something doing something dubious or doing something that's not with integrity, and it's being disclosed. So that's the power of the universal energy, and we are under universal law. But when we are in ego, we think that we can play with that. You see what I mean? You think that you can manipulate that, but that's just when someone is in a lot of the ego, because the ego, when it's in operation, thinks that it's a king or it's the center of the world, that it can rule everything around. You see what I mean? Which is an illusion. And that's where we are closing this huge cycle right now, because that era, the age of darkness, is ending, and we are transitioning into the age of light. And at the same time, since when I was in Hanoi, and even before that, I kept receiving the message of bee and beehives. And even before that, like a 12 months prior or something of that nature, and just a few days ago, I received more information on that. So we are at this time on a collective level, ascension energy update wise, that the hexagonal, like the beehive consciousness, like the queen bee consciousness, that is requiring higher consciousness for individuals and collective at this time as we are moving forward. Because I kept mentioning that we cannot take this old consciousness to this new world. So that's in and also the flower of life and the tree of life that's been coming up, especially in July, with the energy of 7 that's been very big, and also with the 8-8 portal. This year was the big number 7, and still that number 7 energy is continuing, that I'm receiving from Source and Gaia. The huge spiritual awakening, that we are planting new seeds, and also we need higher consciousness when we are to collect harvest, and it cannot be from the old energy of the ego operation. So we have to level up, or we call it elevation, or we call it enlightenment, more light, meaning the third eye has to open and then expand and activate, and then all this crown, boom, 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 with the higher consciousness, meaning we are no longer to be operated from this idea that ego creates. Okay, like the ego is recycling what's been programmed. You see what I mean? You can see that as the little character that you may play on a computer program or a computer game. You program this little character, okay? You have this power, you have these weapons, or you are to play this way, and you are to do this. So we call it a character. It has certain personalities. That is the avatar that you used to play, right? And we are now moving. And who is playing that character? Who is creating this character? It's you, meaning your higher consciousness or higher mind, or your soul, or your monad. That's where we are constantly tapping into and emphasizing that it's important to open this up. And we've been working on this. since very heavily, there was a preparation since the beginning, and okay, what I'm receiving is at the end of last year, continuing. And then we've been opening up. We were getting ready from the springtime for the flower of life energy to be activated. So, and then it's peaking, coming to the 7/7 in July, and then 8/8/8, 8/8 portal like this year, to open up the higher heart that's connected to the throat, that's affecting the third eye, and then boom. Because we need to speak our truth, we need to be who we are as our authentic self, and in order for us to speak our truth, our heart has to be opened. If our heart is closed, we will continue to just play the ego, the program character, to look a certain way, to appear a certain way, because we put more emphasis or importance on how we appear to be to other people, meaning other people's opinions matter more than who you are as your existence. That's the old energy, right? How other people perceive you becomes more important than how you feel about yourself inside. You see what I mean? So whenever we are doing that, we call that conditional. Your idea of who you are, your existence entirely is up to other people. You see? If they perceive you as someone good, you feel good. If they perceive you as someone bad, you feel bad. For example, in duality consciousness. If other people see you as unworthy, you see yourself as unworthy. Meaning, these external elements affect you so much. Why? It's not because they have more power over you, which was an illusion the character was playing to believe, which is a limiting belief, right? But actually, you are buying into it. You are, meaning you are agreeing. When someone says you're not worthy, you can't do that. That's right. I cannot. That's right. I don't deserve it. You see what I mean? In that moment, you are agreeing. But when you come to know who you are, meaning you go in and you spend time learning about yourself, meaning this character that you're playing, this image that you've been holding, these beliefs that you agree to, that you see that now as real, even though it's an illusion, you see? So all these little parts, the inner wounds, the limiting beliefs, the inner child that's suppressed, all of these things, you have to get to know what's inside here in order for you to unlock this. It's like there's a knot here, there's a knot here, there's a knot here, representing limitation. You feel like, you're not free, right? You're always hurting. Ouch, this area, or like, ouch here, or ouch here. Always something representing like a trigger, right? You're triggered. And with that trigger comes, I don't deserve love, or I'm not worthy, and I'm not enough. It all comes down to I'm not enough. I deserve punishment. And so a lot of the cases, you punish yourself. Or this example is coming up. So I was in the elevator just a few days ago, and then there was one person already in the elevator, and we just got in, the couple, like the American couple and me, and we got on the elevator, and this guy who was inside the elevator was very kind enough to ask, oh, which floor are you guys on? And he was going to press it for us because he's near it. And I said, oh, I'm this floor, please, and then said thank you. And then the lady with the husband, she said, oh, like 22nd. And then he pressed it, and then, oh, actually, no, we are on the penthouse, like the top floor. And so the guy had to change because there was like a sign that it said PH, which is another floor, representing the highest floor. And what she said was, oh, like, I think it was, what was the exact word? Oh, she said, basically, it's my fault. I don't count well. Like, I always count wrong. And something of that nature, as in a very apologetic manner. And in that moment, that's just one of the abilities, right? I can tap into someone's like subconscious blueprint. And even though sometimes I don't try to, but that was like a very orchestrated movement, right? What she was saying, she has this pattern of blaming herself. That when something goes wrong, she's blaming herself. And it's her guilt, like she's carrying that guilt. It's her fault now, right? That she didn't know and she didn't count it right, and the way she said it, I forgot exactly what it was, but she said it, it's like, sorry, and then I'm always counting wrong, or something like that. I'm always, I'm very, in a manner that, I'm very stupid. Something of that nature. So, immediately I can see that was the environment that she grew up in. Perhaps the influence of the mother, which is the energy that is coming in for some reason. So she's taking that on, and automatically she's just, doing that. She's blaming herself, and it's her fault now. A lot of self-criticism on her, and then for not knowing perfectly or not knowing the right thing or what it is, right? And that she's being, what can I say? It's like, I am stupid almost. I am wrong. She's wronging herself. You see what I mean? Even though it seems like it's a very common expression, that's what a lot of people do. And I can see that she has a very, good heart. But that's what she took on, right? Always, when something's, needs to be corrected, it's just how life is. Instead of, she's constantly apologizing herself and taking that as a burden, right? You see the process? So that's just an example that I'm guided to share for some reason for anyone that may resonate. So deep down, what that individual or the person may hold is that she's very harsh on herself with a lot of conditions that she's putting on herself, right? If you do this right, you're good. If you do this wrong, you're bad. Something of that nature. So she's not fully whole, and she's not fully unconditional, meaning she's not free from these conditions. These conditions constantly follow her, making her feel apologetic to a very unnecessary extent, or making herself feel bad for little things, or like so-called mistakes, whatever that is, right? So that's like the energy, as an example, that one needs to be aware of when one is playing that out. Sometimes we can blurt it out because it's like all programmed, or you react or you respond in the same pattern. But the moment that you are catching on that behavior pattern or that verbal pattern, meaning you are aware, even after you said that, even after you had done that, that's the power that you hold, meaning You are not being played by the ego, but you are going in a higher place of your own consciousness, overseeing what's going on within you. You see what I mean? Because all this physical realities is a representation or physical manifestation of the inner energy inside. You see? So for example, you had a very bad sleep and you didn't sleep much, for example, and you woke up very tired and you woke up your brain is not functioning. Even though it's beautiful sunny day outside, you see these beautiful beaches, natures, and everything around, you cannot enjoy, for example. Have you ever experienced that? You're just so tired, even though you went to this party of your lifetime. You can't enjoy because you're tired. That's just an example. Your inner state is what's governing your outer experiences. You see what I mean? So that's where humanity or individuals are being called to wake up to. That it's the inner that matters. And that's where all these like little YouTube shorts that I made is deriving from, tapping onto this collective energy and shifts that is taking place. So you can ask yourself when you are going through the shadow work, or especially with the eclipse, you may have to go into your subconscious or any suppressed emotions. What you want to say is you want to have the time solely with yourself, meaning choose yourself, prioritize yourself, where you can be alone without any outside influences or distractions or voices, opinions, this chatter or whispers. Because the environment matters, and it can create a very safe place where you can solely focus on yourself, right? Because there's a lot of noise outside pulling on your energy, right? Trying to like knock. I need your attention. I need your energy, or I want your energy. Leeching off, hooking, or wanting, however it is. You have to say no, which we call it discernment. And which requires at first a lot of strength, because you maybe used to be a pleaser, right? People pleaser. And that when you say no, you know that other people are not gonna like it. Meaning you took that as not liking you. That's why you used to please, to be liked by them, which made you very vulnerable for them to manipulate you, to use you to get what they want. You see what I mean? That's how it plays out, directly speaking sense. So now you say no, and then that's your discomfort, or that's you're out of comfort zone, right? You have to sit with this emotion. Insecurities. You're not feeling secure right now. You're not having that sense of security. You're like, ooh, like this, anxious. What if they don't like me? What if blah, blah, blah? But you're sitting. And in that moment, this is just an example, right? In that moment, you want to bring your higher consciousness, your soul aspect. What is this trying to tell me? Because every emotion is a messenger. Okay? You want to consider your emotion as a messenger. What is this trying to tell me? What is the message here? And also you can ask, what is this trying to teach me now? What do I need to learn from this emotion? Then, by you just asking, meaning creating this new music, inner dialogue that's silent, in private, That's the karma that you are accruing. That's the action that you are taking energetically. You see what I mean? Instead of choosing, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, freaking out. Oh my God, oh my God. And then you feel unsettled, insecure, and then you are going back to the old pattern because that's what you know best. That's easier for you because that's familiar. You see what I mean? Even though it's not serving you, that's how it works. So you go pleasing. Okay, yeah, it's okay. I have time, come in, right? The discernment is out the window now, right? So you're pleasing and then you feel relieved. Oh, they like me, okay, I'm good. You see what I mean? So now you stand firm, sitting with this jittery, this funk, this loneliness, this like insecurities, this fear, this I don't know, anxiety. Align. And then go into higher self consciousness. What is this teaching me right now? And you can relax your body. You can lie down. And it can even make you cry. And if it does, it's good for you. Because that crystallization, that water is information inside the body. That water is coming out. And it needs to be released. That water needs to be released. You see? So that's why we feel purified. We feel relieved. We feel a huge cleansing after we cry out something. So that has to come out. So we put in the new, new water, and then you can reprogram this water. So there is like an experiment, right? The water experiment. Dr. Inamoto? I forgot his name. The Japanese doctor who studied the crystallization of the ice or the water. That one group, he said something very positive, loving. The other one, the opposite. And the crystallization of the water, this one was beautiful. The other one was very sharp and very like scary looking, and that's the energy. You see what I mean? Because everything is like a sound, frequency. And that makes up someone's aura. And that's why people are attracted to someone's aura that's light and warm, as versus who's not so, right? Or something creepy, you feel like a chill or something like that. And so this water inside you needs to be replaced or reprogrammed by you constantly putting in new music that is more elevating. You see, that's in match to the age of light, not the age of darkness. The old way, the new way is calling for us at this time. Especially with this eclipse portal, is helping everyone in the collective, helping everyone who's willing to sit still and create new music through the discomfort. You are planting new seeds, meaning it could mean that you are accruing new karma, meaning new action, because you're taking different actions. You see what I mean? So that's where it goes, like in personal development ideas. Change your mind, change your life, change your attitude, change your life, right? Change how you feel, change your life. Change what you think, change your life. You see, it's all in that line, because that's the universal law. So we have to understand how this law that we are under, no longer the centralized, conditional, governed, programmed law that we thought was governing us. It's just a little play or experimentation. It's just an experimentation, right? There's much bigger. So we are coming to an understanding that this universe is entire consciousness, and how this consciousness is operating is a totally different level of understanding or perspective. So we have to come to that in order to evolve together as this energy is evolving as well. You see what I mean? Anything that is not in match to that will fall off, will fall off, will fall off. That's where the idea of rainbow bridge is coming. It's, you have to cross that bridge, right? We are crossing that bridge right now. And anything that's not in match to this new vibration will just stay the old way, will have to fall out, whether it's people, family, friends, siblings, work, places, locations, homes, everything has to fall off, fall off, fall off. And in an egoic sense of the perspective, we call that chaos. We call that storm. We call it a tornado. You see what I mean? Because the destruction, once again, needs to happen. The falling, the collapsing needs to happen. And in the egoic sense of the mind that perceives the world, when that happens, we used to hold on so tightly for security inside. We used to depend our life on the externals, right? Whether it's outside people, outside opinions, or opinion of the authorities that telling you that you are good or bad, right? All that idea of the judge giving you the reward and punishment. You see what I mean? We are all a prisoner in that sense, you see? In the centralized system, we are all a prisoner in one way or another. As long as we buy into it, you see what I mean? There's always some higher institutions that can confiscate all your assets the next day, and it's gonna be gone. That's why they created the idea of insurance company, securities company, all these ideas, right? To enforce these illusions that if you don't have that, you're not gonna be safe, you're not gonna feel secure. So it made people hold on to these centralized, or these like judges, conditioned judges, and that the driving force of that, they used fear, right? Everything's going to be taken out of, and that was the happiness, right? All these externalities were the source of your happiness. Other people, physical things, for example, right? So it's like you're being stripped out of all these things that you used to give you securities, and when you have nothing, you're going to be so unhappy, so insecure, right? And then it could tempt you to feel like, I don't want to live anymore. You see, the meaning of life was all in the externals. You see the connections here, the chains of the imprisonment. So now we are moving to another level of consciousness. That everything is inner, meaning the idea of abundance, for example, is the feeling of abundance. And that feeling is the one that you generate, because you are the creator of your own emotions. You see what I mean? That's a whole different story. Before, other things around you used to dictate how you feel. And you bought into it, so you made certain choices. Which meaning, you are always a victim of circumstance. When the weather is good, my trip is going wonderful. you arrive to your dream vacation destination and it starts to rain, oh, my vacation is ruined. You see, as an example, very simple example, if the external is constantly governing you, you are the victim always of the circumstance. And that's why you try to control the weather. You try to check every little detail before and plan all these little details to be in control, to make sure that everything's perfect outside so that you can feel satisfied. You see, that's the old way. But when you understand how the universe works, meaning it's a new level of perspective that's being required, that this universe is just a consciousness, meaning it's you. You're the consciousness. You see what I mean? And now, it's about the inner. When you see that weather as beautiful, and when you see or feel grateful for being here in this moment, you are going to feel joyful, abundant, grateful in that moment, for example. And with that inner, outer, you cannot perceive something outside that's not the energy of inside you. You see what I mean? If you are focused on feeling grateful, or you're feeling grateful right now, more things to be grateful for come into your life. That's the idea. It's not that it's coming, but you are just perceiving and aligning with these energies because that's what you feel. But let's say if you are always complaining and hating, dissatisfying, that's the energy that you hold in. So you are constantly going to align with the same energy and then perceive and experience it. So the idea of opportunity is, in a neutral sense, is that opportunity is everywhere for you to align. And if you're aligned with an opportunity of miserable experience, dissatisfaction, frustration, that's the opportunity that you're holding or grabbing or you are aligning with. And if you're holding that beautiful, loving, grateful experience wherever you are, no matter what the circumstances, meaning even though it feels uncomfortable, you say, thank you for this opportunity, right? That's where it comes from. Helping me to grow, helping me to realize so that I can release myself, I can free myself. I'm willing to look at it. Help me. You see? Help me. You're not in control of everything. You're asking for help, meaning that moment of vulnerability is the understanding of your higher self that this life is, this universe is way bigger, or this, how you understand in the moment, you remember on a subconscious level, on a soul level, how the universe is working. And there is support everywhere, even though you cannot see it. Your spirit team, your guardian angels, or the universe, or the source, however it is for you, right? Help me to see, help me to understand the situation better, help me. And then your energy is, because so genuine with that, you're holding that energy frequency, you're simply now aligning with the same energy, and you are seeing that as an opportunity, meaning everything is an opportunity, meaning everything has an infinite possibilities. You see what I mean? It's a matter of what you're aligning to. So even though you say you're experiencing something that you don't want to, you grabbed onto that opportunity, or you grabbed onto that possibility. You see what I mean? That's a neutral, that's the concept of the higher consciousness. Okay? So now you have aligned. And then it's matching, you're matching the frequency, and you are aligning with the experience that's going to help you realize something. And with that realization, you have this inner knowing now, meaning you have the bigger picture now, overseeing, over drama, all of these little things that used to freak you out or trigger you. You see that as an enemy that's potentially trying to harm you. Or you now see how these people were playing, right, in deceptions, in manipulation, who they really are, what they were saying, and what they're holding inside is not in match. Meaning, there's no honesty, there's no sincerity, it's not genuine. There's this loyalty, whatever that is, right? You start to see everything, and you're saying no. And it's going to help you to discern better because you are seeing better. The third eye. So that's how it's all working and orchestrating for you. That's how the universe orchestrates things for you, or actually mirroring, meaning you are the source, meaning you actually are orchestrating that because you were creating this music, this new frequency within you. The moment you said, help me, I want to learn, I want to grow, and thank you for helping me to grow. Thank you for this opportunity for me to learn. Thank you for this challenge. Thank you for this pain that I'm feeling right now so I can see the light in this. That's enlightenment. You see? Recognizing that you are the light in the dark tunnel. Before you used to wait or cry for external light to come in to save you from the dark, but now you're realizing, help me to become the light, you see? And that means you are now, that in a literal sense means turning pain into power. You see, that's what it means. So that's all the energy, right? This eclipse. Turning pain into power, representing the shadow and the light. So that you can see, you can enlighten yourself. And when you enlighten, it's going to be so bright. It's going to expand your light. You see what I mean? So this year also, like the that energy, the 7 energy. Is it? Yeah, right now at this time. And then it's marking the ending as well as the new beginning. Ending of one, beginning of another. You see what I mean? So that's the energy right now. And I've been connecting with the 12-dimensional galactic dragons very heavily the last few days. Especially like the red dragon, that's like my personal dragon, and the blue dragon came through like a couple of days ago. So I mentioned this when I was in when I was in Sydney, Australia a few months ago, that the 12D galactic dragons are available, and this like the mountain that I'm seeing in front of me, that's a huge portal that's connecting me to Lemuria and the dragon portal. So even as I'm looking at it right now, that portal is open. Huge portal is open right now for individuals to tap into the energy of Lemuria, to remember the wisdom, the consciousness, the divine feminine consciousness there. If you are connected to Lemuria, or even the dragons at this time. So you may want to connect and meditate if you resonate, of course. And especially if you are dealing with all this heavy past karmic energies, or this limiting beliefs, that made you feel very heavy. You were carrying on that burden unnecessarily, meaning it's not yours to carry. That I kept mentioning that it's not your karma, right? But the reason why you may feel connected to, or that may be arising during the eclipse season, or however around now, even now, is because there's something that is pulling that energy to you, inside you. You see what I mean? So that's where the clearing is going to happen. You need to go deep into your suppressed emotions whenever that comes in. And in order for that to happen, the celestial, the astrological planets were helping as well with the rising of the frequencies, meaning more light, more light. More light meaning revealing the shadow. Meaning it's making you feel go nuts or very uncomfortable, very insecure. But that's the opportunity. If one perceives that as an opportunity of growth, of enlightenment, of freeing oneself. You see what I mean? Because we are entering into the age of sovereignty, decentralized world. And in that world, everyone is going to be sitting with their own power within. And right now, the heavy energy is the comparison due to these external conditions. So I'm comparing myself with that person or this person and that person, where they're at, how they live, and how they seem to be. And then in comparison, I don't feel good, or I feel better. That's also the ego, right? So that's the energy that we are working on right now, to release this old programming, erase it, recode it. It's like the computer coding, right? Delete everything, and you are putting in new programs, new codings, relearning. We are in that process of it, just deleting and planting new seeds, recoding. And so when the harvest season comes with the new karmic cycle, meaning the action, now we have to bring in higher level of consciousness to allow that harvest to match with that new frequency. You see what I mean? We cannot also just take the harvest with the old consciousness. Do you get it? So we are now working on with the hive, the beehive consciousness, or this tree of life, this flower of life consciousness that's been coming up for the past 3-4 months very intensely, but I received this information like a year prior, or even more than that. So that energy has been building up momentum the past 3, 4, 5 months, boom, 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 getting us prepared so that in the future timeline, or in the upcoming days, when the harvest season comes in, we are not sitting in our ego and harvesting this. You see what I mean? We need to be in a higher consciousness and harvest, so that this harvest can be replanted or re-fertilized, so that this fertile is the key word that we are working on for Gaia right now. So fertility, so it could mean a fertility for a person, whether you're male or female, the divine feminine energy, but also on Gaia's ascension sense, this idea of fertility. So right now, that's why they have me here in Hawaii, because this is a very fertile ground for the divine feminine consciousness right now with the Lemurian portal. And this line from the mountain all the way to the ocean used to be the key focal life force energy of fertility. And I shared this in a recent video, that this whole area used to be a very fertile agricultural land where the water from the mountain is coming down with the main stream here, this Waikiki area, and there's a stream, meaning that energy force of Gaia, that vessel, is going down to the ocean of Waikiki. So that this was a very important the vessel for Gaia, but that's been blocked. So there is a water canalway still flowing, but with all this privatization of the land, real estate, a lot of these vessel points, energy points, like in feng shui, there's different energy points, has been blocked. So we need to reopen this, and we need new consciousness. So there used to be, before the privatization of the land, the people here used to live harmoniously together, and how they used to farm was with the natural way. So they had this natural way of building the land like this, and then the water can flow from the mountain, the natural source, like in a very, they had this wisdom or the science based on that higher consciousness, and that it would flow and then it would grow. And so there are a lot of groups and people that I received as divine information that they're working on to revive this old way of farming or refertilizing the ground of Hawaii right now. And they're also, working on reviving this area as well, because they used the canalway and blocked it, and they just built all this entertainment and all this, like hotels and places right now that's actually blocking this energy way. So we are like, in that sense, is coming as a symbology on a collective level. We are refertilizing the ground and laying the ground. You see what I mean? And that requires different level of consciousness, or higher level of consciousness in human language sense, a different perspective or expanded perspective. That's where the flow state comes in, that we're no longer going to operate from the duality consciousness of black or white, yes or no, better or worse, but more in a neutral sense, allowing all possibilities. Meaning, that's how I was trying to explain to you, to help someone or anyone, right? That whatever that you choose, you're surrounded with infinite opportunities all the time. But just that programmed duality consciousness is interpreting, right? It's creating, it's your interpretation based on the programming. Is help making you align with certain things. When you interpret that as only bad, because that's what's been programmed. So for example, crazy is programmed as bad, for example, right? Not normal is programmed as bad in the society of conditions and conformity under control, right? They have to program it that way so that people conform. So when it was conformed as bad, people avoided it. You see what I mean? So they align with a different energy of control rather than flowing with being who you are. You see what I mean? That's the opportunity. So what makes you feel joyful? What makes you feel inspirational? What makes you feel passionate is your opportunity. So in that sense, we have this interpretation, right? Opportunity is coming, this is coming, that's coming. Actually, it's all out of your own creation. You see what I mean? That's why we say you are the creator, that you are very powerful, That's what it means. But it takes a lot of uncovering. It takes a lot of disclosing the shadow in order for you to fully allow yourself to access your own power within once again, right? Returning to yourself so you can fully utilize. And in the process, you may not even see yourself as powerful. You see what I mean? Because we've been programmed as you're not enough. And because I am the one who's going to decide that for you, the authority, like the teacher, the parents, or institutions, the government, right? You're useless. We're going to fire you. You're not smart enough. You're going to get an F, right? And I made this video in the shorts. Get out of the house because you're not being a good kid, or you're not being the kid that I want. You see what I mean? Like that, we hold that deep subconscious fear of rejection, abandonment, betrayal all together. And it's also individual as well as the collective. So we are releasing all of that right now with the new music, meaning now that's the process of remembering you as your own creator. That everything that you are experiencing is your own creations. And with that, once you start to understand that, it requires one's own integrity moving forward, because everything that you created was out of your own choice. Whether it was made under pressure, whether it was made under the influence of your parents, teachers, your friends, your partners, whatever that is, you made that choice in the end. And the consequences, meaning the universal law, what you put out, you receive, of that is your own, meaning your own karma, based on your own actions. You see what I mean? That's how it works. So when you receive the consequences, we are learning about accountability. And once you understand this accountability, that whatever you that chose, I can't believe that I divorced twice. Now I have 5 kids with me. I'm a single mom. I'm a single dad, for example. Oh, I shouldn't have listened to them. I shouldn't have. They betrayed me. They wronged me, right? If you're sitting in that victim consciousness energy, you're not taking full accountability, meaning you're not seeing the power of your creativeness. You see what I mean? You were so powerful to create all these experiences. But that programmed mind is interpreting that as bad or good only. But when you go into that neutrality, now I see that's all my creation. What can I learn from this? How can I grow through this experience? You see, that's the key right now. So in that, infinite possibilities are open. That's where I made this shorts video, that it's not black or white, yes or no, can or cannot. No more forcing. You're simply allowing and receiving all these possibilities when you're in neutral. You see what I mean? Because when you are forcing no, when you are forcing when you are forcing good, when you are forcing bad, that perspective, so there are other infinite possibilities, but what you are perceiving, you cannot perceive what you're not the energy of. You see what I mean? So you are only able to see that. You see? That's what we mean by expanding your perspective. And when you expand your perspective, you start to notice everything. You are surrounded with infinite opportunities. And that's where I share in the latest videos that Treat every moment as your new reality. Treat every moment as your new parallel reality or higher timeline, or however you resonate. And every moment you can switch, and starts to build momentum, because you're creating that karma or the new action. That I'm grateful, I'm joyful, I choose my happiness. If you didn't wake up feeling happy, you sit with it, or you choose something that makes you feel joyful. And also, if you feel like you need to sit with that discomfort to release something that you do, and you all do this not forcing out of good or bad, or to be good or avoid being bad, but you're simply intuition, your third eye, helping you navigate. And this is not going to feel very easy. This is not going to feel very comfortable. That's why it requires a lot of your strength and focus, dedication and willingness, determination. Because your focus sets the direction, and that direction starts to align, and that alignment starts to flow. You see, focus, align, and flow. Boom, boom. You're constantly being moved. That's the new higher consciousness that we are embodying and relearning, or just being introduced, depending on where you are in your level of consciousness. We're not judging that you are falling behind. We're not judging that you are stupid, or you're smart, or smarter, more stupid. You see, we're just simply honoring individuals' journey that's unique, and learning how to flow. Okay? So honor where you are. Honor your journey. Honor yourself right now as you are. Honor your wounded self right now. Honor your unhealed self right now. Even though you are unhealed, you are enough. Even though you're in the midst of pain, you are enough. Even though you are feeling unloved and feeling lonely, you are enough. You see, that's something out of comfort zone that it's hard for you to make sense out of right now, or hard for you to align right now. But that's what I'm introducing for someone, if someone has a hard time understanding, planting new seeds. That's where my soul purpose and mission at this time for Gaia's ascension, right? So that you are enough. Constant reminding, meaning creating new music, coding, reprogramming before. You're not enough, you're not enough, you're not enough. Always measuring up to external expectations, external pressures, external validations. Now, I'm always enough. Even when I don't know, I'm always enough. Even when I'm feeling stuck. You see, that's the new consciousness, the new music that we are getting used to, listen to, and dance with, flow with. Do you see what I mean? So that's the message that is coming for me to share this guidance with. Source Gaia, is there anything else? For some reason, Andromeda is coming through very strong right now. So if you are in need of support, of opening your heart, healing whatever that's in your heart, whether it's fear of being rejected, abandoned, dealing with the wounds of the betrayal, whatever that is, you can connect with the energy of Andromeda that's available right now. That's the higher heart of the universe. And you can close your eyes and set an intention to connect with and receive the support of the energy of the Andromeda, and start visualizing this beautiful, pure, shimmering white light from Andromeda coming down through your crown, allowing that to disperse within your physical vessels. And contain that light, and then allowing that light to, that codes, they're sending you codes, there's light codes, to open up your higher heart. That's a support that you are also given an opportunity to align with. If you feel resonating, if you feel like you want to choose that, you see, that's why we always emphasize take what resonates and leave what doesn't, right? It's your choice always. It's up to you, right? And I may share this, and there will be a million different ways of interpreting it, and it's all based on the energy that you hold inside. You see? When I introduce something, and then, oh, she's pressuring me. And that's the self-pressure that you may be holding that you need to release. And I share something, oh, like, no, like, she doesn't know what she's talking about, for example. If that's a narrative, there is something within you that's very much of, sitting with the inferior, superior, always wanting to be the judge of other people, so you feel superior. That's actually something that you feel inferior to, something that you need to work on, right? So it's just an example that's very common on earth at this time, right? So that's why a lot of these hate comments, a lot of these negative comments on social media, to celebrities, right? All this obsession energy when someone has a lot of light in them, right? Is all based on what you need to work on, or what you need to grow out of that is being revealed. But when one is being avoiding that, they're repeating the old cycle, the old programming, just the same pattern. And then without them realizing it's harming others. It's harming your neighbor, harming your brother and sister, like just in a symbolic sense. So that's where the consciousness needs to come in. Once you understand, oh, that's what I've been doing, that's what I've been creating. I've been unintentionally and intentionally hurting others as well, because I assumed, I perceived that they were always hurting me, or I held on to that old pain, old memory of others who used to hurt me. So I held on to it. That's where the energy of the revenge, right? The eye for an eye, that's holding on. Let go, let go. Open your heart, let go, so you can receive something new that's going to help you feel elevated. You see what I mean? So connect with Andromeda if you feel called to, and also Lemuria if you require divine feminine consciousness at this time, for you to tap into more, being more self-loving, self-kind, having more self-compassion as you go through this different adjustment period of this new era or new changes, because changes are not always comfortable. And changes, we perceive it as scary rather than fun and exciting. So that's could be a new music for someone that may resonate, right? It's fun, it's exciting, I'm excited for it, rather than, ooh, it's scary, I don't know what's gonna happen, I need to control this. You go into control rather than relaxation, aligning with joy. You see what I mean? So let's, I'm excited for these changes. I'm excited for these storms. I'm excited for these tornadoes. Let it come. And then you just have fun or be playful with it, with that idea. You're creating new frequency. So that's just an idea. Even though there may be, I'm not discounting that it takes a lot of dedication, meaning a lot of work or challenges that is also growth opportunities. But just like that, life is like a roller coaster. Sometimes it's like, but they give you breathing space to go up. They give you that little break. So just trust the divine, the faith, and continue to do that. So these light codes are coming right now from the dragons with the serpent energy, with the energy of Ra and Isis together. So I'm just transmitting these codes right now for anyone that feels cold and resonating to connect, to receive, to elevate their consciousness at this time, to open up their third eye so that they can recognize illusions for what they are, rather than staying confused or going back and forth. Now they're having clarity and certainty that it's an illusion, so they can close that door that's no longer serving, that could potentially sabotage their blessings incoming, right? That you deserve to receive. Huatakaia, takakau, atakakia, hutukuakaia, takaua. So they want me to stop here for some reason, very briefly. And they want me to continue that on a separate video for Patreon for equal energy exchange. Okay? So if you feel called to honor my energy and reciprocate and support me and appreciate and protect my energy that way, please join me on Patreon, okay, for this further transmission, extended one. With that, I'm just going to create the safe space for you to tap into your shadow, that you are loved unconditionally. You are supported and protected always. Remember that, so that it's safe for you to go in and navigate through the shadow. And you don't need to fight the shadow. You don't need to fight the storm. Just stand still. Allow it to pass by while you are centering and noticing and recognizing and realizing in the midst of the chaos, okay? So with that, I'm wrapping up and I'll see you in my other videos. Bye!